so let's talk about something I found at Whole Foods, of all places, the chocolate persimmon. Chocolate persimmons are a special type of persimmon. When I picked this up, I didn't really know what it was. I just knew that it was a variety that I hadn't had. But I looked it up online and I came across a really interesting NPR article that talks about this a little bit. So I'm going to kind of like summarize it a little bit, but I'd recommend checking out the article. I'll put a link below because it was actually very interesting. So there's a guy referred to as the fruit detective, David Karp, who I remember reading about in this guy right here, The Fruit Hunters by Adam Leaf Golner. So David Karp found out that there were a variety of persimmon trees that were brought over here by Japanese farmers over 100 years ago. So Japanese farmers came here and they brought the persimmons that we know, like the Fuyu persimmon and the Hachiya persimmon, but along with that, a bunch of other varieties. So David Karp heard about this type of persimmon, which is, I believe, called the Maru persimmon, and thinking that it might be somewhere, he went from farm to farm all across America trying to find someone who'd be growing it, and eventually he found somebody. This is a special one, and this is one that now is available at places like Whole Foods thanks to the efforts of David Karp. So I actually really want to read a little bit more about him, because this sounds like just like what I've learned in like the Fruit Hunters. He's like an ex-junkie that got into fruit because he wanted to impress a girl, so he pretended to be interested in fruit. And believe it or not, pretending to be a fruit connoisseur did not woo the girl. Who would have thought? And he fell in love instead with fruit. So, interesting dude, it seems. Yeah, so that's David Karp. And this is all thanks to him. So from the outside, this looks just like any ordinary persimmon, any kind of Fuyu persimmon. You know, you can see that it's squat. I believe there is also a Hachiya variety that is more elongated. I think that maybe it's like a little bit darker on the outside, but otherwise it looks pretty normal. The Fuyu persimmons tend to be a little bit lighter in color, at least the ones that I see at the market around here. So this one is a little bit different in appearance on the outside, it seems, but the main difference is when you cut it open. Lo and behold, yeah, it's brown on the inside. I've seen some online that there are entirely brown, but this one just seems to be like a little circle, which is kind of interesting. I'm going to wait until the other ones turn a little bit darker before I have that to see if maybe there's a difference, but I'll start with this one now. Now this is another one that, although it has the name chocolate in its name, similar to the chocolate pudding fruit, although it may look a little chocolatey, it's not supposed to taste chocolatey. I don't believe so anyway. There is one website, specialtyproduce.com I think it is, that says that it tastes like chocolate. I don't think that it does, because it's the only place I'm seeing that says that, and I think that is just something that you see chocolate in the name and then people just kind of run with that. So I don't think this is actually going to taste like chocolate, but it is supposed to have a nice flavor. So I'll stop babbling and take a bite. That is really tasty. Doesn't taste like chocolate, no. But it tastes like a Fuyu persimmon, but very flavorful. On a level of 1 to 10, where 10's a sugar cube, this is pretty high. This is probably like an 8. It's very close to pure sugar. And persimmons taste a little bit like, I don't know, it's kind of a difficult flavor to describe. It's like a fall kind of flavor. Like maybe a little bit like pumpkin, but because of how sweet it is, maybe a little bit like pumpkin pie or sweet potato pie. It's got a little bit of a nuttiness to it, and a little bit of like a chestnut kind of flavor to it. Fuyu persimmons can be eaten either in their crunchy stage, like this one where it's like still kind of firm on the outside, or you can wait until they soften a little bit. So I'm going to wait until this softens and see if that makes that brown develop a little bit more, and see if it changes the flavor at all. Okay, so it's been a couple of days and these chocolate persimmons are now squishy. Yeah, that's pretty good. You see it's pretty brown in the center also. Again, it's not the whole thing. It's just like there's a circle of brown. Oh yeah, there we go. So yeah, this one is all the way through brown. This one isn't. So I guess it depends maybe on the fruit itself. Okay, so here's the brown one. Let's try it. That tastes just like chocolate. No, not really. Not at all. That is just like pure liquid. You bite into it, it's like a water balloon. It just melts. It's so soft. That's really good. It is sweet as hell. That is the sweetest thing. It's like, it tastes like you'd put a spoon of honey in your mouth. I'd say on a scale of 1 to 10, where 10's a sugar cube, I'd give it a 10. Like that is like pure sugar. That is as sweet as it gets. It's like the equivalent of like a date. It's kind of like the same, but with the addition of like a honey flavor. I think because it just got so much sweeter through time, then you're like that sweetness is coming out even more. Let me try a piece of the one that is not brown all the way through and see if there's a difference if I just eat like the part that's not brown. The brown part tastes better than the part that isn't, which is like kind of funny because usually if a fruit is brown you would think it would be rotten, but in this case like brown is what you want. Like that is where that flavor is. And in that same article that I mentioned, they talk about the owner of the farm talks about he's had people call him up and say that they threw out the whole order because they thought it was rotten. It's just like seeing something brown inside a fruit is usually a sign that you don't want to eat it. But in the case of the chocolate persimmon, it is the opposite. Like if you get one of these and it's nice and brown on the inside, it's time to eat it. If you like persimmons, this is definitely something to check out. I think that's all I have to say right now, so I will see you next time. Well, I really hope you enjoyed that video, guys. If you did, you may want to check out the video that is below me right now. That should be good too. Also, if you haven't subscribed already, it is a huge help to my channel, so please do consider subscribing or clicking that bell. That does something too. Not sure what it is. Also, check out the description below. There's all sorts of other things I have going on. I don't even know anymore. But guys, I will see you next time. Take care.